There are moments in gardening when something feels almost too old, too simple, and too overlooked to possibly work. Yet those are the exact methods that often rewrite what we think we know about soil. Stone mulching is one of them. For the first minute of this guide, let's sit with the image of every civilization that farmed in unforgiving landscapes. Deserts, volcanic flats, arid river plains, surviving not despite their conditions, but because they mastered them. They weren't hauling in fertilizer, irrigation pumps, or packaged soil mixes. They used what they had under their feet: stones, pebbles, broken rock, entire fields covered in them. The technique shows up in the Andes, in ancient China, across the American Southwest, and even in the scattered agricultural terraces of Bronze Age Europe. These farmers weren't just decorating their soil surface. They were engineering microclimates long before that word existed. When I tested the method myself for 1 week, expecting only minor differences, the results didn't creep in gradually. They hit quickly and decisively. And that's where this story begins. The first thing stone mulching does is stabilize the ground in a way organic mulches simply can't. When you lay down a layer of stones, even as thin as a single layer across the surface, you create instant temperature regulation. Sunlight strikes the rocks instead of the soil, and the rocks absorb, store, and slowly release heat. In hot climates, this shields the soil from direct radiation and keeps microbial life from baking. In cooler climates, especially early spring or late fall, the stones hold warmth into the evening, giving roots an extended growing window. In just a few days of my trial, soil sensors showed temperature swings shrinking by nearly half. Stable soil temperature is, honestly, one of the most overlooked factors that determines root efficiency, nutrient uptake, and overall plant vigor. Stone mulching also locks moisture into the soil far more effectively than people think. This isn't just about reducing evaporation. Stones collect condensation. As air cools overnight, moisture condenses on their surfaces and drips back into the soil. Desert farmers from the American Southwest to the Negev understood this intuitively. Some fields in the ancient Mediterranean use stone coverings specifically to capture night moisture in dry summers. After applying stone mulch to my own test bed, the soil stayed damp long after the control bed dried out. When I dug through the soil after a week, the difference was, well, shocking. The stone mulch bed held moisture deeper and more consistently, even without additional watering. Anyone growing in drought-prone regions or areas with erratic rainfall can use this trick to stretch irrigation dramatically. For survivalists relying on low-input, resilient methods, this is honestly a technique worth mastering. The next advantage comes from the stone-soil relationship itself. Stones help prevent surface crusting, a common issue in compacted or clay-heavy soils. When rainfall or irrigation strikes bare soil, it compacts the surface, sealing it and blocking gas exchange. Under stones, the force of water is diffused. Soil stays porous, loose, and able to breathe. Aeration increases, which directly supports beneficial microbial activity. Even earthworms navigate these conditions more easily. After a week of stone mulching, I saw fresh worm castings peppering the gaps between stones. A balanced soil ecosystem can't form when the top layer turns into cement. Stones solve this in the simplest, most direct way. Now, another overlooked benefit is how stones redirect energy in storm events. You see, heavy rain and wind can strip away organic mulches or even erode the soil underneath. Stones, on the other hand, anchor everything in place. In regions historically hit by strong winds, think high deserts and coastal plains, this method was, honestly, a necessity, not just an option. Farmers protected seedlings from windburn and sandblasting by using stones as micro-windbreaks. You can try this yourself. Plant young starts, then ring them with a barrier of fist-sized stones. The plants in my own test bed showed visibly less stress and, well, firmer stems by the end of the week. There's also a nitrogen and nutrient story hiding beneath the stones, which is often overlooked. Rocks weather slowly, releasing trace minerals into the soil. Basalt and other volcanic stones are especially valuable, but even river stones and field stones contribute micronutrients over time. They don't replace compost or fertilizer, but they do support a long-term mineral cycle that helps plants build stronger cell walls and, honestly, deeper resilience. Indigenous farmers across the Andes used volcanic gravel extensively for this reason. The system was built for decades, not seasons. If you want soil that improves every year you garden, stone mulching fits that philosophy perfectly. Applying stone mulch requires only a few steps and can be adapted to nearly any setting. Start by clearing the soil surface, watering deeply, and laying stones no smaller than a coin and no larger than a fist. Keep the layer 1 stone thick for vegetable beds and slightly thicker for perennials or trees. Make sure gaps remain between stones for airflow. Water again after placing them so the stones begin their condensation cycle. In just a week, you'll feel the difference with your hands. Cooler soil during hot afternoons, warmer soil in cool evenings, and moisture that lingers longer. Anyone with access to riverbeds, old construction rubble, or naturally rocky terrain can practice this without spending anything. The transformation of my test plants came fast. Leaves held more turgor. Growth stood sturdier. Even the soil smelled different, richer, more alive. And this was in a single week. Long term, the results only amplify. Stone mulching isn't decorative. It's ancestral engineering. It's a technique shaped by cultures that farmed in some of the harshest landscapes on Earth and still left behind thriving fields. If you want to adopt methods that stand the test of time, that reduce your inputs, that build soil stability, moisture retention and resilience, this is one to add to your toolkit. If you want more deep dives into forgotten techniques, ancient practices and practical hydro gardening knowledge, make sure you subscribe to Hydro Haven and share this guide with someone who loves history and soil wisdom as much as you do.